My answer may disappoint a lot of entrepreneurs because entrepreneur likes to complicate things. They think, oh, Daniel, you got this thing. You must have 30 workflow, 30 steps, 90 steps, email sequence, SMS sequence, missed call text back sequence, onboarding sequence, all these sequence.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not adding out the output. So I actually only use.
Welcome back to Agency Masters. I'm Robb Bailey, and this podcast is where I share the strategies, systems, and insights I've gained from selling my own agency and helping over 20,000 digital agencies grow and do the same. My hope is that the content here is valuable to you along your journey and that you share, review, and enjoy. Hey everybody, Robb Bailey here. Welcome to the podcast. Today I have a very special guest, Daniel Nguyen. Daniel's in SoCal. He's got a really cool story for us to share today. He is an individual who's both used a system in his own local brick and mortar business and has now helped hundreds of other local brick and mortar businesses in a specific niche improve their lives using a system. So thank you, Daniel. I appreciate you taking the time to come on and share some of your story with us today.
Yeah, thank you, Rob, for providing a platform for entrepreneur people like us to share a story and help to inspire other. And technically, that's how I started in the entrepreneur journey, was by listening to stories, podcasts such as this one, and I was so fired up, so inspired. So I decided to go out there and demand better, a level of myself.
That's awesome, man. And see, I love stories like this. This is why I love helping entrepreneurs and talking to entrepreneurs. So can't wait to dig in. Really quickly, tell people, just to get started, what niche are you in? What kind of local business do you have, just to get started?
Yeah, so me and my wife, we own beauty salons, and for a long time, we struggles with the day-to-day operations, lacking of a CRM and a POS. So we try all kinds of products, software, and nothing really seems to really understand the fundamentals, the need for the beauty industry. Maybe it's because these software providers aren't beauty salon owners. They don't understand the day in, day out, the struggles, right? The limitations. So I was brought to HighLevel from a friend. He recommended, hey, try out, go HighLevel, and it's pretty cool. So I signed up like 3 years ago. Never did anything to it. So like the first 9 months, I was paying like $90-something a month for 9 months, $900 before I even log in. Oof. So my wife was like, hey, what's up with this charge? Like, you're paying this thing and you're not using it. So I thought, okay, just give me 1 more month and let me learn this thing. So that was my first experience of seeing the true potential of HighLevel, of all their capability and automations, in the old days, right? The campaign and triggers days.
Yep. Awesome. So did you have one location with your wife? Were you running the business together?
Yeah, we were. We have like 2 locations at the time, and we couldn't expand because of the CRM. We couldn't communicate with our team members on the site. There's no central communication channels with this customer. I don't know how my front desk is doing. Is she answering calls? Are there any missed calls? There's a lot of unknown variables here, right? So we didn't quite understand our numbers. We had 2, but now we have 4, and they are performing flawlessly, and they're scaling very, very nicely. And it seems like that is the equations for scaling any brick and mortar business.
That's awesome, man. Okay, cool. So if I can summarize, your first 2 locations, it sounds like you did not have a system for handling the incoming leads, whether it was through your front desk person or as a business, like business-wide. Your team, your whole team didn't know sort of who was coming in. It was very disorganized, maybe? Is that fair to say? And so are you giving credit to this, like having and installing that system as a way to open up 2 more locations? Like, would you have ever done it if you did not have this system sort of dialed before you opened those other 2 locations, do you think?
Absolutely. Just to give you perspective of the business revenue, we were just doing like $300,000 a year as a brick and mortar. That's like nothing. That's peanuts. That's like keeping the lights on, right? Because rent.
Well, in Southern California, for sure it is. I'm from San Diego, man.
Especially in California. And now if you live in like North Carolina, maybe that's a great deal. But in California, I was just barely making it. I was just making it, trying to figure things out. And there was a lot of disconnect between the client communications and team communications. And there was a lot of like wasted revenue or missed opportunity. We could have made money or booked an appointment, right? There was no workflow automations. So when I start building out my own snapshot, customizing it, hire help, and really learn the true capability of Go High Level for a brick and mortar business. And I saw the light bulb moment went off in my head, and we immediately saw an increase. So I took my salon I actually opened a new salon. So when I got this system dialed in, we opened a brand new salon, and all we did was HighLevel. That's the only system we're running in the salon.
Wow.
And just to see how it does, right? Sandbox. Well, you want to see how it does.
Yeah.
Brand new business. And we first year, I think this month is our first 12 months, first annual year. Our revenue is 1.5 million.
Stop, man. That's huge.
Yeah, and in the meantime, I already opened two more along the time, and I already took money, opened two more, and they're all performing in the $500,000 a year already, brand new business.
Oh my gosh!
So this seems like the success formula with the right system is not a question, for any brick and mortar business anymore. So I encourage you guys to go out there and provide services, entrepreneurship, provide services for local businesses, because this system is really beast mode.
Absolutely, man. Okay, cool. So are there any key, what are the key activities, do you think, that are tied into the system that are, because those are incredible numbers, man. I mean, it's rare that any business can open up, local or otherwise, where you jump out the gate that fast and you achieve that level of revenue. I know the beauty services market enough to know that there's probably some good margin in there. I don't know how good, but to come out the gate in 12 months and do $1.5 million for that size square footage is incredible. I mean, there's a lot of entrepreneurs who would be like, dude, I would do anything if I could blueprint that out. Like, seriously, that's impressive. So first of all, good job. But also, what are the key inputs? Because in my experience, a lot of people go, I need to build this huge system. It needs to be elaborate and complicated. And in my opinion, it's usually the opposite, in my experience. It's usually 1 to 3 key features or key inputs that make the system really go like a well-greased machine that just keeps... so the inputs are worth the outputs, and it keeps snowballing, and the business keeps getting bigger and bigger. So can you help us identify maybe what some of those are for you? Yeah,
absolutely. Between my salons, we have about 50 employees. So the system had to be simple. Like a 6th grader can understand, I got it, right? Figure it out. So there's 3 things. One is visibility, right? Which is using GMB optimizations. Number 2 is accessibility, which is condensing all the communication to the conversation tab. So Facebook, IG, Google Chat, web chats, texting, and calls are in one platform.
Love it.
And the number 3 is review reputation management, which is sending review requests, and that's it. I know HighLevel, it's has a lot of things.
Oh yeah,
that's the only 3 thing I did to make a $1.5 million from my salon. It could be simple like that.
My goodness, man, I love it. See, that makes me happy, because that is the thing I'm trying to get people to understand is that I have a friend, Mike, who is just local businesses aren't complicated. There's not a whole lot left to figure out. And so if you just do the basics right, you can usually win, right?
Yeah.
And you just listed them all off. It's if you have a system for consistently doing those things, you're going to win against the guy next door or the person next in the Google results, local results, right? That is awesome, man. Well done. Okay, cool. So can you just tell me before we moved on, because I know you've helped hundreds of other salon locations with your system that you have created and implemented yourself, which is, again, kudos for doing that and for being willing to help other people. But tell me what it was like, maybe for you, like personally for you and your wife, or whatever you were personally going through when you were kind of struggling before the system. Like, what did that look like when you were sort of like herding cats and had all these employees who didn't know what was going on? Like, what did it look like before you got to all this goodness?
Yeah, I think most people, most entrepreneur or agency owner wouldn't believe that the brick and mortar business, the local business, only suffering those things is communications and accessibility. And reputations. That's all they're really suffering about. And for us, when I first started into HighLevel, our Google page had like 30 reviews. I'm like the typical before picture. Yeah. 30 reviews, been in business for 14 years, 30 reviews on Google. Like, really? It sounds like you just opened yesterday on Google.
Totally, yeah.
So that's where we started, and also like just the transparency in HighLevel now. It's like I can see everybody messages. All of my clients call or record it. I can audit people. I can see how my employee are communicating with my client in one platform, and there's no he said, she said, this and that. It's all there.
Yeah.
Right? And I quite love it. Like, we get so many compliments of people saying, like, hey, what is going on with your salon? I called your salon, you didn't pick up, you text me, I text back, and we start having a dialogue, and I booked an appointment. Like, who did all that stuff?
Yes.
And I said, yeah, we use a CRM, and I'm glad you like that, because people loved it. The accessibility of texting the business. And a lot of time they're at work. They can't really call. And also, when they reach out on Facebook, they get responded right away, or IG, or Google Chat, or website chat. It's just like simple, minimal, improvement, but like massive output. Just those key areas.
Well, if you think about it, to the customer, no one else is doing that. So to them, it's a very, very high level of white glove service you're offering to them. And for you, it's just a system, right? So it's easy for you to execute it and for your team to execute it. But for the customer, I think this stat is relevant. Maybe an updated number better than me. But the last time I saw this study, there was a study that said, in Google search results, the local business that responds first gets the business 80% of the time. All they have to do is respond first.
Absolutely.
We've all been there. We're going down the search results. We're saying, hey, I need something. I'm looking for something. You go down, it's like, don't answer the phone, opt-in form, chat widget submission, homepage chat. And, no one responds at all, or much less like maybe like a few days later, a week later, something like that. And you're like, I already got my hair did, I already got my nails done. So I really don't need you anymore, basically. So to them, the fact that you would text back that quickly, made an appointment, made it easy for them, is like going above and beyond. It's also what they expect today, because those are the tools that they use, right? So when you text them back, a lot of people prefer to be texted instead of wanting to call on a phone, right? For whatever the reason.
Yeah.
And so you're communicating with them. What's that?
Speed to lead, right?
Speed to lead. I've been saying this, and this is it's always been this way. It's been this way for local businesses, by the way, guys. Speed to lead is the number one problem for every local business. And the tactics that Daniel was sharing just solve that problem, right? For his salons. And so when you solve that problem, you get the advantage of being first to answer. You get first right of refusal, basically, from this prospect, this person who's looking for a solution. And when you do that, and and they have a happy experience inside the business once they come, it's easy to ask for the review after that.
Absolutely. Yes.
Right? Because they're like, I was thrilled with this whole experience. I've never been somewhere where they've treated me so nicely, and et cetera, right? So when you ask for a review, it's not like pulling teeth, right? So, man, huge. And like, you get it. A lot of small business owners don't, unfortunately, which is sad. And it's that one of the reasons why I started this podcast. I just want to help more people understand that it can be as simple as what you described to solve so many business problems for local and especially small businesses, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
So what was it like for you and your wife though? Like, because was that causing friction? Like, were you guys doing okay on money? I mean, what was it like? Because that's a big jump from like $300,000 like 1.5 million a year. Was there struggles, like personal struggles, not just business struggles? Or, I mean, because I'm always interested in that. A lot of entrepreneurs talk about, hey, I made it and it was great, but they don't like to talk about how crappy it was before they kind of figured things out, right?
Absolutely. I think my biggest like nightmare and fear is not having enough money to payroll. Like that's, I've been there, like payroll's coming around. We don't have money in the bank.
Yeah.
Rent is due and I'm late.
Yeah.
I would say like 90% of small businesses are dealing with these struggles because they don't have a system in place to really help them streamline the growth. They're just a little bit lost, right? Fumbling around trying to have a pretty, $2,000-$3,000 website that doesn't really do much when rent is due, right? Just making bad decisions. So that was my pain point was not having money to pay payroll and having to let people go because we frankly couldn't afford them. Mm-hmm. And it sucks. I hate that feeling. It sucks. And I keep telling myself, like, there's got to be a better way. Like, I got to figure this. I have to figure this out. Yeah. I don't know what will solve this, but I have to do something to help us all. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that, because I think anyone who's been open in business long enough knows a feeling like that.
Oh, yeah.
And it's terrible. Like, for me, I felt like, so I shut my first agency down. It was a 7-figure agency, but we had no profits. Most months we lost money. It was awful.
Churn, ad spend.
Yeah. Hey, build us a new website. Okay. And then, we spend 2 or 3 times as much time on it than we quoted them for. And they're like, but you quoted us this number, right? So that was fun. But I remember not having to, we didn't have the money to continue on, and my business partner and I decided to shut it down, and we had to sublease our office space, which was this really cool office space in downtown San Diego. And we had to make a YouTube video where he's holding the camera and I'm walking around touring it like a real estate agent, basically, talking about how awesome it is. And so, with the intention of like pitching it to someone to sign a sublease so we could get the heck out of there and not be responsible for the bill anymore, right? Mm-hmm. So we were trying to do it the ethical way, the right way and everything. But going through it, I was like, man, I really love this space. I loved all the clients we helped. I loved all the growth we had here. Like, I was proud of some of the things that we did, but I felt like I let everyone down. I felt like I let my clients down. I said this on stage at several talks that I've done, and I always end up crying on stage. I don't know why. But then I went home that night, and we told everyone, hey man, it's over. Like, we're going to start to roll things down, like ramp things down. And we posted it live on YouTube, and I was just sending it out to anybody that I knew who might want office space. And I went home that night and cried my face off in front of my wife, and I was like, dude, I just let everyone down. Like, everyone thinks we're doing great, and in some ways we are, but we're not making any money, So I can't afford to pay any employees. I can't afford to pay the rent. Like, I was like, yeah, we're growing, and I kind of pitched this vision, but it was broken. The model was broken. The foundation was shaky at best. And so, although that was a really hard moment, I did the same thing you did. I went back and said, okay, we did most things right. We just weren't doing a few key things right. We were doing them wrong, like super wrong, right? And so I chose to do what you did, which was go back to the drawing board and try to fix those things and do something about it. And that's how I started my second agency, which was a much more successful, scalable agency. So good on you, man, for not quitting, not giving up, and trying to go out there and find a solution. That's awesome. I can relate a lot to what you just said, put it that way. Dude,
like, I actually had, so my current agency is my second agency. My first one, I shut it down last year. We stopped running webinar. I was doing webinar courses and, buy now, $9.97, add to a webinar, the cold traffic, it was converting. And we got to like 6-figure month. That's like 100K, got the nice ClickFunnels, comma cover war thing. Mm-hmm. And then I was broke.
Shocker.
Right? So now when I see agency owners like holding hey, this is my thing, I don't have it no more. I threw it away. It's like, this is so dumb. It's just so dumb. This is tragic, right?
That's awesome. Yeah.
And all these agency owners, we just hit the double comma club war. I was like, wow, I bet you have zero margin, right? It's so funny because we all spent on ad spend and sales rep and team member and all this stuff.
Oh yeah.
No profit at all. No recurring revenue. And that brought me to like the high level, like, SaaS system. Mm-hmm. They came out like last year and I was thrilled. I was like, holy crap, I could sell this? Like I could charge a recurring money and I don't have to worry about like churn, but like very little churn. And because the agency model is like 50% churn month to month. You lose a client every 2 months.
I think right now it's for digital agencies, it's like 1.9 months is the average retention rate.
Well, that's even worse than when I was doing it 3 years ago. I was keeping clients for 3 months.
Yeah.
I probably break even because it costs ad and cost per booked calls and the sales rep, and they're in for 2 months and they're done. They're canceling us. Mm-hmm. So the second agency now is a SaaS business, software as a service, recurring, delivering simple systems to businesses that truly help them, and is really sticky.
Yep. Yeah, that's awesome, man. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about that, because you've helped how many other locations with your system besides your own at this point?
In total, we've helped over 260 locations. But we lost clients. We lost, beginning stage, we lost a bunch of clients. I would say the first year was it was tragic. I was just losing clients left and right because I didn't really understand how to run this business. SaaS business, a little bit different. We lose a little bit, but right now we're above 160 client at the moment. So that's active, and we love it, and our clients love our system. It's simple to scale, and now we're trying to get to 1,000 clients, right? And then 2, 3, 4, 5, 10,000 clients in the future. Yeah.
Wow, dude! Congratulations. So I bet you those 160, plus, let's just call it 200 plus that you serve, though. At least we're better off than when you found them, because without those 3 main systems that you talked about, I mean, it is just like starting over every month, climbing uphill, whatever you want to say about it. So what are the things that they have said to you about how that has helped them in their business? Is it kind of the same as you experienced, or do they tell you different things? I mean, what are they saying that makes them want to stay and become like, like what would you call it? Like evangelists, I guess, for your system, your solution.
Yeah. So as you know, HighLevel SaaS is pretty new. If you look at the book Crossing the Chasm, we're at the very early, like before the wave, the early adopters, but we're approaching the high peak very soon. So more and more adaptations will happen, and more agency owners like you and I are out there trying to help local businesses. And in the future, it's going to be a standard for all businesses, right? Yep. So right now it's like the gold rush. You want to make sure you bring this service, this system, to the local businesses as fast as you can, so you can acquire market share quickly, right? So for my client experience, I would say that they experienced what I did. Taking a brand new salon from 0 to $1 million. Like that's my ad pitch, like how I did my 0 to 1 million in 10 months with zero ad spend. Just by implementing 3 things: local, SEO, visibility, local reputations, and accessibility. That's all I'm selling here.
Yeah.
And it's easy to explain. It's easy to see. What do you call it? I forgot the word. It's easy to show them to tie result to what we're doing.
Yes. It's very tangible, right?
Very tangible. Yeah. It's like it's real. Like, yeah, you're. The record says you had 300 new calls this month, and I'm guessing you probably closed half of them. Right? It's 150 new clients you got.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Absolutely. Awesome. So when you are you just running a pure SaaS play? Do you just say, hey, sign up for our SaaS and pay the monthly fee, and then you self-manage it? Or are you coaching, consulting, adding services in any way, or is it just setting them up on the software and letting it run?
I'm like a hybrid, SaaS, and I do help them with local SEO, which help them get more visibility. Besides that, we offer like Facebook ad and we offer like Google ad, but very few people take that route. Yeah. But we're mainly focused in, I would say 80% pure SaaS and 20% like professional services, which is local SEO.
Love it. Awesome. Very cool, man. That is a powerful combo. I actually think that the reason why I call this podcast Systempreneur is because I think that the system, which is comprised of you, the expert, so your expertise, having done that, especially for your own salons, matched with the SaaS, creates a system that is unique to the marketplace, and it usually is some combination of that. So some level of expertise matched with the tool combines together to get sort of an exponential result for the person who's using the system, right? Yeah. And so I think that's really smart. Some people have it flip-flop. Some people are like 80% service, 20% SaaS. Some people are like you, where it's like 20% service or consulting, and then 80% SaaS. But there's lots of ways to innovate on that. I just think that the reason why I'm a fan of not just pure SaaS is because there is a learning curve too with SaaS. Oh, yeah. Like imagine trying to just tell everybody, hey, go get good at local SEO. They're going to be like, what? Like, I don't know how to do that. I don't have time for this. I'm busy. I got kids, a mortgage payment, a lease payment, payroll, like all the things you mentioned. And so if you can just give them insight as to what already works, give them the shortcut, the roadmap, the blueprint, whatever you want to call it, and take your expertise and pair that with this tool that you can use to save you and your client both time and money, then you've got a winner. That's literally the formula that I've seen work over and over and again, just in almost any niche you can think of, right? So I think you're spot on, man. You are doing everything right. I'm very excited that you're helping other local business owners, because I can only help so many. So can you. Yeah. A lot of people out there are like, oh, this is saturated. I'm like, no. There's millions and millions and millions of local businesses that need this help, right? So, okay, cool. Well, what would you say to somebody? First of all, I'm sure people are dying to know, is there a name or a place that they can look you up if they're a salon owner and they might want this type of help from someone like you?
Yeah. So I do have a podcast on YouTube. If you just look up, the local dominations, that's a podcast I used to, run a lot. It has a lot of content on what we just spoke about. And then there was a podcast where I interview, local business owners, and we dive deep into their pain and, their struggles. If that's what the entrepreneurs or you guys wanting to have an idea of what it's like, what the business owner are struggling, I would definitely check it out. It's really cool. And if you want, people keep asking me like, what's your snapshot? Can you sell to me? Or what's your website? I was like, hey guys, like it's a basic snapshot. it's whatever Google, whatever HighLevel gives you, like the hair salon snapshot. It's pretty dang good. Just use that. Don't complicate that.
I'm saying, I've seen some snapshots with like 3,000 steps in it, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, everything's gonna break. You're not gonna be able to tell where the break is. Like, all this stuff. Simple is so much better.
Simple.
It's like you said. If you just use a few simple features that solve the speed to lead problem, and you're consistently following up with people for reviews, once they have a good experience with your solution, that's it. That's like more than 99% of people are doing. So like you explained it really well. Let me just recap that for everybody who's watching. Step 1 is become accessible. This is Daniel's words, not mine. So be found on Google. That's his, the part where he covers that base. Okay, so that's his first part of the system. Second thing is follow up quickly. So speed to lead, right? You're covering that base very well. And then the third thing is once they leave happy, you ask them for a review. And that's pretty much it, right? Like in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's right. So when I sell my services, my SaaS to my client, so I do what I preach, and I show them my Google profile, and now we have, I think, like 770 reviews on Google.
Oh my gosh!
4.8 rating, 1,000 pictures. I respond to every single review. Like, we get a ton of local traffic just hitting our page. Our call volume is 1,000 inbound calls per month.
Wow.
All organic. Okay, I know. I couldn't believe it myself. When I came across this and I conquered it, I was like, is this right? Are we getting 1,000 phone calls? No way. Because normally we get about 300 phone calls, 200-300 phone calls in the business. It's average. Mm-hmm. I never knew I could do 1,000 phone calls.
Yeah.
So when I apply all the 3 systems in place, and we're getting like reviews, phone calls, and it's just like more conversations, chatting happening, and that also equals higher revenue. And I couldn't believe it. Honestly, I could not believe the result that happened by just doing that. And then we're like me and you, this is a thing that we do every day. When you're looking up taco, restaurants, you're probably not going to call the one with least review. You probably want a good taco. So highest reviews, rank high, a lot of pictures. You glance at the reviews and see how they're reviewing, all right? Yes. And you probably hit the button directions.
Correct. Yeah.
That's it.
Totally. Even business owners with like the occasional bad review that respond, I'm like, okay, that sounds reasonable. I'll still check that. Yeah. So like, you shouldn't be. Well, that's just what I hear about local businesses going like, oh, I'm afraid to get a lot of reviews because there's always that one negative one. And I'm like, well, all you have to do is respond to it, and it'll chase the crazies away, and it will attract the people who are reasonable, who you want as good customers. That's really what that will do right there. So if you have like would you say a 4.8 rating on 770 reviews, and there's one negative Nancy, and you reply to it and you're like, I'm just going to kill her with kindness. And I'm just saying that because it's a salon. I imagine it's mostly women. But, you get into that, and then it's just like, it actually seems human, like I'm going to have a human experience, right? Like, versus you're right, the place where you have no idea, like the directions are wrong, the location information is outdated. No pictures. You call the number, it's disconnected, like whatever. You're like, I'm not going there. It's so simple to get the basics right. Yeah. That's amazing, man. Cool. Well, if somebody is in your local area, just on the off chance, do you want to drop the name of your salon too?
Yeah, you guys can, find us, if you Google nail salon in Redlands, California. I think I'm the number 1 ranked, and it's the only one in Redlands with 700 reviews. Everybody else has 200, so it's pretty obvious. You see why. You might think, you're like, wow, I see why his salon is successful, because it's really attractive. Yeah. Nice.
Very cool. Okay, cool. So any other resources that we mentioned here, I will go ahead and drop in the YouTube description. Daniel, if you want to give anyone any parting ways of advice, like if they're on the fence about putting a system like this into their business, like what would you say to someone who's thinking that?
I think like the biggest thing is mindset is number 1, but of course, mindset is very vague, very, very vague, right? But I think the more actionable item is not letting no stops you right? I'm sure there's a lot of entrepreneurs on this podcast thinking about starting an agency, and they're like, well, I don't have a salon. I don't have money to build one. I don't have the experience. Like, hey, look, stop with the negativity. Why don't you go out, learn it first, find a coach, find a mentor, find somebody that has a system that you want to scale, pay them what they charge, learn it from them, and go offer your services for free. Nothing beats free, guys. I'm telling you right now, nothing beats free. Yeah. Free always beats any offer. You can have a crappy offer, but free is still going to win.
Yeah, it's true.
Free wins every time.
Yeah, I can think of a million times where I've started something and I've offered to work for free. It's starting with mowing lawns when I was a kid. And I can tell you that this is how people used to learn, right? 100 years ago, you used to be an apprentice and worked for free for years to learn how to be a shoemaker or a carpenter or name your thing, right? And so I think it's really important for people to try and go and build a skill set where they learn from somebody who's done what they want to do. If you think about a shoemaker thing, from the movie Pinocchio or something, just way back then, that makes total sense, right? But it's so easy for people to get lost these days with that because schools push college. People think they have to go work for a corporate thing to learn this. It's not really like that necessarily, right? If you can go out and learn from someone who can mentor you, whether that's paid or digesting their free content on YouTube, like you mentioned, or whatever the case may be, as long as they've done what you want to do before, they're going to teach you things that are specifically and contextually accurate much quicker than you could if you go and trying to borrow a bunch of different ideas from different people and try to paste them together on your own. That is kind of a recipe for disaster. It's if you want to become the home run winner in baseball and pro baseball, would you rather learn from the guy who's won that award before on how to win it, or would you go to your local t-ball coach and be teach me how to be, it doesn't make any sense if you put it in other contexts. And so I think what you said is that's a lot of wisdom. And I'm glad that you came on today, man, because I think you're going to help a lot of people just by sharing your story. So I just want to thank you for that. I really appreciate you coming on. Yeah,
thanks, Rob, for having this platform. This kind of platform was how I started my agency journey, by listening to podcasts and hearing stories and feeling very inspired. Hey, I could do that. I feel when I got off the podcast, I feel I could do that.
Yeah,
in reality, it's not true, but I feel I could do this. I could totally do this thing. It's simple. Why aren't I doing this?
Yeah, Well, it's a good step in the right direction. You can't learn everything in one podcast, but it can give you some insight as to what that journey looks like, help you decide whether you still want to do that or not, and decide how you want to do it because someone who's done it before. Let's just use a crazy example. But if you're going to go start an electric car company, who wouldn't look up to Elon Musk at Tesla right now?
Exactly.
Right? Even if you didn't do it just like him, you'd be stupid not to look at how he did it and learn from him as much as you can, right? And I'm not saying you should like Elon Musk or Tesla, because some people are controversial about it. I personally admire the guy for things he's done. But you can't deny that there's something to learn from someone who's done it, right? And so I think in that context, you are super right. You have to look up to the people who have done things that you want to achieve and try to mirror, look for those clues of success along the way to help you on your journey. Your journey is going to be different, right? But like you said, when you're looking for a specific solution, when you were stuck at your, in your systemless locations, let's call them, there was a missing piece, and you were on a journey to find that missing piece to turn those things into the successful locations and those 200 plus successful locations that you've now helped be on your own. And so those things are very, very important. I feel it's almost our duty it's so easy to share our knowledge with others at this point. It's almost our duty to do that just to help others so that the journey becomes shorter, quicker, easier for them, right?
Let me add one more thing, Rob, to that. I just remember I was asked by my team member Because we're doing reels and content, and they're like trying to squeeze the juice out of me.
Yeah.
One question was very interesting. They say, hey, what makes you different? And my answer was that I don't know. I don't know why I'm successful. I don't know what I did right that got me here. I just did everything I can think of with my own hand. And then they actually, after the podcast, they actually broke it down and said, hey, Daniel, like, there's something very unique about you. Very interesting. It's not normal. You may feel it's normal because it's you. You're being hard on yourself. But in reality, I'm an action taker. I take massive actions. Like, you wouldn't believe it. I'm the insane, crazy scientist. I was up at, 12:30 last night writing scripts with ChatGPT. I'm so obsessed with ChatGPT. I'm like writing prompts, and I had to build this prompt. I got to do this bot, right? So like the obsessions of like taking massive actions is always going to move you to the right directions. And that's all I did day in and day out, is taking a massive action.
Yeah. One of my first mentors used the phrase massive imperfect action, which I really loved, because a lot of people get frozen because the action isn't perfect, or they're afraid that they'll fail in some way, or they were so paralyzed by fear that if they did something wrong, someone else saw it, that, it was just a self-conscious thing. And so I like the idea of the first time I did a podcast on the exact same setup that I'm on with you right now, I screwed just about everything up, and guess what? We still laid down the first episode. That was episode 1, and I was like, should I keep it? I was like, yeah, we're keeping it. Come on, like, if someone can't get past the first episode, they don't know what they're missing out on. But that's the true mark of an entrepreneur, is like, you just never quit, right? Like, the only way that you can really fail is to quit. If you're in this game, I don't think that people give them enough credit. Like, you and I don't sit around thinking about like, oh, what makes us special. Yeah. But that is a habit that we've built over time. That is turned into a skill, which is, if I fail at this on this first ChatGPT prompt to get the result that I want, I know that I'm going to try again and again and again until I get the result that I want. I'm going to figure it out because there's a light at the end of the tunnel that I want to achieve. Right. Yeah. So that is sort of uncommon. You're right. But I would argue that it's more of like a habit and a skill to build that people need to get used to and do more reps of. Yeah. Until they feel like we do, where it's not that big of a deal. Yeah. It's just not.
Like, Rob, what's crazy is, like, I was never like this.
I wasn't either.
Dude, I was drop out college, working. I was a medical assembly, doing the assembly line in San Jose for like years. Yeah, I was working at restaurants, bussing tables, all my life. That's what I've grew up with, right? Yeah. And all of this stuff is new to me. I hate reading books. I hate learning things, but then at the end of the during COVID is. I actually got really sick, and I almost I thought I was gonna die. Man, I was suffering. I had the worst COVID symptoms that I can think of. Right?
Oh, it's terrible.
And I was just like in my bed for like 7 days, and I was like, I think I'm gonna die, man. I really think I'm gonna die because I'm in pain and I can't breathe, and my head just want to explode. Right? Yeah. And then there's one thing I thought, if I make this out alive, I don't want to die like this. This sucks. I had nothing, dude. I had nothing to show for, I just wasted I just wasted my life for nothing, right? Mm-hmm. So I just told myself, if I came out of this well-being, I want to demand more of myself, right? And it was crazy because most of my friends are shocked. My family was like, what is up with this guy? Yeah. I was drunk 3 days out of the week. I was drunk. I was abusing alcohol. Mm-hmm. I was just lost, right? Just doing things. Yeah. And then now I'm just like reading books, and I stopped drinking. I stopped doing all the bad habits. I started reading books, started learning, and started trying to build a career, trying to build a business. Mm-hmm. That's because I just don't want to end me being like that. I just couldn't see myself being like that.
Yeah, man. Well, there's the person that you are today does not mean, and the person you were yesterday does not mean that has to be the person that you are moving forward, right? It's like, and unfortunately, society tells us differently, and that's why we're the weirdos, man. Entrepreneurs are weirdos, just plain and simple. We are. Like, it seemingly comes out of nowhere, and people are like, what the heck? And it kind of makes them angry because they're like, I'm still stuck doing what I was doing or whatever. But the cool part about it is, though, man, is, with everything that I've improved my life on, and especially on the business front, it was just a change of habits. Like, I just replaced a bad habit with a good one. You know, and you're right. There, for most people, there is some sort of like moment where they kind of turn on something internally and go, there's got to be more to life than this, and I'm already sort of suffering anyway, and so I may as well suffer with some upside, hopefully at the end of this or during this journey. And that was really the way that I looked at it, was like, I'm working 3 jobs anyways. They all stink. I'm already exhausted. I may as well try to buy some of my time back and suffer for, what's the worst case? I go back to suffering some more? Okay, cool. But that's the thing, I think, that most people don't realize, is that there are certain things, and maybe that's what your team is helping extract out of you with some of these shorts interviews and ideas and scripting things, is that your habits had to have changed, or else you would have never gotten this far, period and point blank. And so you just, did you change as a person? Well, somewhere deep inside of you that was always there, but you changed your habits so that your talents and your leadership could be extracted out from you, and that has a lot to do with more like what you do every day than anything else. So you just traded one bad set of habits for a good set of habits in the last, 5 years, I guess?
Yeah, a few years.
3 years. Yeah, excuse me. I mean, super fast, man. That's impressive too. So good on you. I mean, I think we would all agree we'd rather have this Daniel versus the old one. I'm sure the factory doesn't miss you, sorry to say.
It's weird. It's really weird. I really enjoy this level of life than before. Yeah. Because now with more money, I travel a lot. I love traveling now with my family, and I like, the perk that come with having more money. It's more fun. You can do more things. I used to buy the cheapest thing in the grocery. Now I'm like buying the most expensive one. Whatever it is, must be good. I'm buying it.
Do it.
Right.
Do it, man.
It's really nice, and I really enjoy this level of a taste of success, this level of success, and I'm like, I got kind of addicted to it. It's like, what? I don't want this to stop. I want more. This is fun, Instead of taking just my family to like a cruise, I want to take my whole family. Yeah. Everybody's going. Totally. On me. Let's go. Let's hang out.
Absolutely, right? Man.
That's freedom, because that's what success do to you, is give you choices and freedom, so you can have fun and hang out with your family. That's all.
Yep. It definitely gives you more options, for sure. I would say this too. The more people you serve, the more money's going to come your way anyways. And if you didn't have a passion to serve, then you wouldn't have helped those 200 plus people, with the same blueprint that you've had success with. And so I think as long as you continue to keep that as your primary focus,
absolutely,
you'll continue to have this success, man, because that's all anyone who's ever created wealth has done, is created value for others, really. I mean, unless you're like an oligarch or something, which we aren't, obviously, or else we wouldn't be here. But that's how it goes, though, is you provide value to others that's worth currency, and when you take that currency, you have more options, and you can do more good things with it. That's literally how it works,
Yeah.
So congrats, man. I feel like you've certainly earned everything you've gotten, and keep going. If there's anything I could do to support you, man, we should definitely just hit me up. I'm happy to support
you. Thanks, Rob. I mean, if you go to the Level Up event, you'll see me there. We'll definitely
absolutely.
We're gonna hang out. Sure. We'll chat more, of course. And everybody who's listening, make sure you got to be there. You got to be there.
I'll put the link to the Level Up event. It's HighLevel's big conference in the fall every year. Last year was an absolute blast, and such good people. I've never been to an event that had better people in it.
Oh yeah.
And there was thousands of people there. So I would love to see you, man. We should catch up there, meet in person, take some photos. That'd be awesome.
All right. Thanks, Rob. Well, thanks everybody listening.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you guys want to get in touch with Daniel, or you're interested in anything else that he's doing that we've mentioned here or otherwise, I'll put the links in the comments here on YouTube and wherever else you're seeing this, and that way you can get in touch with him for more. If you guys want to get connected with me and all the stuff that we're doing for HighLevel and the HighLevel community, and in my coaching and consulting businesses, I'll also put a link in there. But guys, really pay attention to what Daniel said, because keeping it simple and just covering some basics are literally all you need for most businesses, especially local businesses. And thank you for sharing everything you did here today, man. Hopefully we helped a few people out who weren't privy to this kind of information before.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Oh, man, take care.